It's time. Let's talk about the divorce. So I've been away for quite a while. Let me tell you why. At this point, the case is over. I've been trying to get this divorce settled. It was a lot longer process than I thought, and I haven't talked about it in any official way up until this point. There's two different courts. There's the court of public opinion, that is Reddit, Twitter, all those great and wonderful places. And then there's the court of law, where I believed that was the best place to spend most of my time and focus most of my efforts. After it was settled, then we could talk about it. We could dispel any rumors or any sort of questions people had. And that's who this video is for. It's for people who genuinely are curious about what happened. I have documents here in front of me. I'm gonna read them as they are. I'm gonna try my best to not have any of my opinions in here. Some of these things are a bit confusing for people who don't know lawyer speak. So I'm gonna do my best to explain these documents in a more casual way. So hopefully everyone can understand them. Keep things as plain as I can. This isn't to inflame the situation or cause any stress to anybody whatsoever. I just want to speak the truth.
So this is a guy who has a YouTube channel. On this YouTube channel, because he was married, he used to upload content with the wife. So this is him basically talking about the divorce and about everything. Yeah, I think it's always very interesting to actually look at divorce, especially people who are in the public eye, and especially in terms of how they deal with it. Yeah, and before we get on with it, don't forget to subscribe so that we can grow this channel. And let's get on with it so that we can hear more about this.
In January of 2025, we had split up the previous year. It was amicable. We tweeted about it on Twitter. Everyone saw that. And the divorce ended up being officially filed by her in, like I said, January. I sent Milena a 50-50 offer down the middle in April of that year. She did not accept it. I did not know what she wanted out of this divorce until mediation, which was actually in November. And essentially what she wanted was the same thing she wanted in trial, and that's what we have here. I warned Milena that trial would be very expensive. It would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, but still we had to go to trial, and you'll see why. So bear with me now. We are gonna go into some legal documents. What I have here is what they call Nmplol's First Amendment disposition of issues. So this is essentially what she wanted. I'm gonna read the document to the best of my ability because I can't read.
So before you get started, there's one thing that you should know. Whatever person that you get married to, it's not the person that you're gonna get divorced to. These are two different people, either because of different experiences, and let's just say people change with time, but there's also people who just change just because there's a divorce and they just want to get as much as possible from the divorce settlement.
Very well. I'm going to explain things so everyone can kind of understand what she wanted and how it went down. Keep in mind, we each had this. This one's hers. This one's mine. We'll go over mine, but first let's do hers. Hers is a bit longer. The first thing she wanted, and by the way this works is it's essentially a line with a, like for a check mark and then the thing that they wanted. So the first thing that she wanted was to grant the divorce between the parties on the grounds of insupportability. This is very important, and I'm explaining exactly what that means right now. In Texas, a divorce can be granted on the grounds of insupportability, which is the state's no-fault divorce ground. The Texas Family Code defines insupportability as a conflict or discord of personalities between the spouses that destroys legitimate ends of the marriage relationship and prevents any reasonable expectation of reconciliation. In practical terms, it means neither spouse has to prove wrongdoing, no evidence of adultery, cruelty, abandonment, or other fault is required. The court only needs to find that the marriage has become unworkable and that reconciliation is not reasonably expected. So you can file divorce on other grounds, and I'll explain what those are. Cruelty, you can file for adultery, which didn't happen. Conviction of a felony.
The way he keeps saying it didn't happen and the way he's giving us looks, I feel like there's something that he's gonna expose as this video go on. Mind you, I haven't watched this video. This is actually my first time watching this video.
Abandonment, living apart, etc. She filed on the grounds of insupportability. Next, award Nmplol a disproportionate shares of the party's estate for the following reasons, including but not limited to. So she wanted more than 50-50. respondent's economic and financial abuse of the petitioner, respondent's failure to permit access to the party's community property accounts, including for purposes of insight and access to such community funds, benefits the innocent spouse may have derived from continuation of the marriage, disparity of earning power of the spouses and their ability to support, earning power, business opportunities, capacities, and the ability of the spouses, nature of the property involved in the division, waste, and attorney's fees to be paid. So to explain that, the judge, in order to grant Milena her disproportionate share, would have to find something that fits those sort of grounds. Any of those bullet points that I read off. Next, confirmation of Milena Midtoy's separate property as outlined in the attached spreadsheet, meaning that there's an attached spreadsheet here that has her own property in it. Makes sense. Next, order Milena Midtoy Palom's waste claim for Nicholas Michael Palom's excessive expenditures. That was over $100,000 they had claimed against me. The next thing she wanted, and this is one of the reasons why we had to go to trial, order Milena Midtoy Palom's request for post-divorce maintenance for a period of 5 years from February 1st, 2026 in the amount of $5,000 a month. So she...
Yeah, so based on what is going on, I'm not sure if a lot of people in terms of who view my videos, if they're aware of that whole community for the manosphere, the one that, yeah, it's not as strong as it used to be many years ago. Basically, they give men advice in terms of women. It was not all about negatives or trying to fight women. Basically, it was just making women to be aware in terms of the nature of women. And, you know, the more you see this type of videos of people actually getting divorced and actually seeing in terms of what the other spouse are requesting and what they want to get, to be honest, if you are a man and you have something in your life, I think this is something that can actually prevent you from actually getting married, because you're going to see in terms of what other people are going through. But at the same time, we need to also acknowledge that there are people who are still married and they actually have good relationships with their spouse and they actually have marriages that last and they don't even end up in divorce. So there's two different spectrum to this conversation.
She wanted me to pay her $5,000 a month for 5 years. We don't even have kids. Next, and this was the biggest one, the most important one, and it's going to take some time to explain it because this is also why we really had to go to trial. Order Milena Midtoy Palom be granted a judgment against Nicholas Michael Palom with specific language securing such entrance against the shares and stock held by Nicholas Michael Palom with his interests in OTK Ventures, OTK Media, and Kings Gaming Labs Incorporated. So this is essentially the crux of the entire trial. I mentioned earlier that Milena wanted a disproportionate share of the estate. She wanted a 60-40 split of the entire estate, but it was a little bit more complicated than that. What she wanted to do essentially was have her 60% be all cash and my 40% be heavily weighted in my OTK shares. She wanted about 90% of the cash reserves, plus she wanted me to pay her this post-divorce maintenance, and my 40% would be essentially all in my OTK shares, which no one really knows what those are worth. This was the biggest point of contention in the trial for me. I don't think...
God damn. So what am I supposed to eat? So you actually want to take all the money that I have so that I can be left with the shares? Nah, man, like for me, that's just a new level of greediness. So I just went through this guy's channel a bit. I saw the wife. She looks Asian. You know, I know there's this whole movement in terms of the black people that black people should get married to black people, because if you get married to other people from other demography, they will cash you out and they're gonna divorce you and take almost all your stuff. And this is what we're seeing here happening. Like, to some degree, you would actually think that those people actually make a bit of sense. But at the same time, if you go through the divorce statistics, you realize that everyone is getting divorced irrespective of what demography. It's just it happened to this guy. But the stats that I didn't take is that I didn't check in terms of which demography has more divorce than the other one. That's something that I am not sure. And I'm not really saying that that's something that's actually influence in terms of what happened here. So I'm just saying that he was married to an Asian lady and not a black woman and not even a white woman.
Anyone would have accepted the offer that was presented in front of them. Essentially, it would drain me to 10% cash reserves, be in debt a whole bunch of money. So I would put a lot of trust in those OTK shares being worth something someday. So that is just about half of the document. And I don't know if I should say this, but now it gets kind of funny, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Up next is a section called income taxes, and let me read this for you. Order that any refunds received from the date of marriage through the date of divorce be divided equally by the parties, with Milena Midtoy being entitled to 50% and Nicholas Michael Pollan being entitled to 50%. So if there was a tax refund, she would get half of it, I would get half of it. Makes sense, right? Order any liability from the date of marriage to the date of divorce be paid solely by Nicholas Pollan. So if there was a tax bill, I would have to pay for all of the taxes.
So I think I'm starting to get a bit of a trend in terms of this whole divorce settlement. From how it seems like to me, it seems like this guy was the sole provider. He's the one who had the financial means, because everything that's being stated, it's the woman wanting from him. I think, like, you know what? I actually don't like divorces, especially how they treat men. Like, most times these divorces, they take a lot from the man, and at the end of the day, the man should be the one who actually starts over. It gets to affect your mental well-being. Like, there's a lot that actually men go through, and it tends to get overlooked, and I don't think that this is something that's gonna change. And the only thing that's changing is actually the decline in terms of men who are actually getting married. We're actually seeing more men getting older and choosing to stay alone or staying with their partner without getting married, because they're trying to avoid these things, because it's just bad, man.
But if there's a refund, Milena would get half of it. Order that the parties file separate tax returns and partitions as January 1st, 2026, and each party be liable for their own respective taxes for 2026 and each awarded respective returns for 2026. Makes sense to me. Up next, injunctions. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. I'll try my best to explain it for everyone. Order Nicholas Michael Pollan be restrained and enjoined from making any public statements, whether written, verbal, or visual, regarding the ongoing litigation and the parties' divorce, unless mutually agreed upon in writing by the parties and filed within the court. So that essentially says that me, and you notice her name's not there, but me and me alone can't talk about it. And then the next line is, strictly in the event the court does not grant the requested permanent injunction, Milena Midtoy Pollan requests the court, after trial on the merits, to grant the following permanent injunctions enjoining the parties, their agents, servants, employees, and attorneys. So pretty much everyone involved this is the following injunction. Directly or indirectly disseminating, publishing, or causing to be published, or directly or indirectly requesting a person disseminating or publishing any letter, story, statement, correspondence, description, or depiction of any kind whatsoever, including on any social media, whether fictionalized or not, which is or could be reasonably interpreted to be disparaging, negative, or defamatory in its description of the other party's personal, professional, private, or family life, including without limitation the business or the financial affairs of the other party. So essentially, anyone involved with me whatsoever could not talk about this divorce. Spoiler, that did not get granted, because obviously we're talking about it now.
Okay. God damn. My guy, who is this woman who you were married to? Like, yeah, I know I've said that the type of person that you are married to, it's not the same person that you get divorced to. But goddamn, it sounds like you were married to a very greedy woman, man. Cause I'm hearing everything that you're busy stating, but goddamn, like, I've seen people divorce, and I've seen in terms of the things that get requested, but it seems like you're going through a lot. This woman is requesting everything. Like, from the way it sounds, it just sounds like she wants the whole world to do her bidding. She just wants to cash you out privately. No one is supposed to even talk about it, not even yourself. Like, hey man, yeah, I'm sorry, my guy, that you had to go through this. It sounds like you really went through hell through this divorce.
Explain why that didn't get granted, because essentially that's an infringement on my First Amendment right to the Constitution of the United States of America, which is freedom of speech. Milena Midtoy Pollan requests the court order Nicholas Michael Pollan to pay reasonable attorney's fees, expenses, and costs through trial, and appeal, and a judgment should be rendered in favor of Milena Midtoy-Palom against Nicholas Michael Palom and be ordered to pay directly to Milena Midtoy-Palom. Milena Midtoy-Palom request post-judgment interest as allowed by law. Also, it says Milena Midtoy-Palom requests the court deny any and all of Nicholas Palom's requested relief filed with the court. So that's a lot. I'll explain quickly what she wanted. She wanted a 60-40 split because of her reasons listed. She wanted me to pay her $5,000 a month for 5 years. She wanted the majority of my part of the split to be locked up in my OTK shares. She wanted me not to be able to talk about the case whatsoever. She wanted the things about taxes.
This is the most unreasonable thing that she wants. I think in terms of the 50-50, it actually made more sense because both of you would get cash and all the other things will get divided and you get equal of stuff. From the looks of it, seems like she married you for money because she only wants money. Like, I don't think this girl loved you, my guy. Like, from what I'm hearing, I don't think she ever did.
She also wanted me to pay her lawyer fees. So, what did I want? Let's get into it. It's not going to be as long as what she wanted, so we'll keep it plain as possible.
Yeah, I think this is another thing that's a problem in terms of us men. We don't want too many things. Even in a relationship, a man will tell you that I just want peace. I want someone who can help me to clean and cook for me. I just want someone who I can live with. We don't want too many things. I think to some degree, we need to change that because these women, they keep on demanding. Like, you can see she's demanding so many things. And obviously, we don't think the same way as women. And that's why we want to request so many things. And also the downside is that we find that the man is the one who's actually providing. So in terms of a divorce settlement, it's always going to be against you because they're going to be taking your stuff instead of her stuff.
So I'll read it as is, just like I did with hers. Number 1, grounds of divorce. Nicholas Michael Palom requests that the court be granted a divorce on the grounds of insupportability. There's that word again, insupportability. This is the only thing that we agreed upon in the entire case, which is good. It really is. Next, division of community property. Nicholas Michael Palom requests that the court divide the community estate in a manner that the court deems just in right as provided by law and set out in Exhibit A attached hereto. So Exhibit A is essentially an exhibit with spreadsheets and it ends up being a 50-50 split down the middle. Stocks, shares, cash, everything. Next, separate property. Nicholas Michael Palom requests that the court confirm and assign his separate property to Nicholas Michael Palom as set out in Exhibit A attached hereto. So my stuff is my stuff.
Guys, do you remember Hakeem Ziyech? I think that's his full name. Yeah, Hakeem, the Moroccan player who got divorced to the wife and she wanted a bunch of money, only to find out that the guy doesn't have anything in his name and everything it's in his mother's name. Guys, that's the script. That's the script. I think if you are any guy who actually has anything in life and you have built anything, even if you end up getting married without a prenup, just put those stuff, whether in your mother's name or your sister's name, whatever. I think you need to do that. I think you need to do that. Like, these divorce courts and these women who are going to divorce you, they're brutal, man. They don't give a damn about you. I think that's the only script. Because one thing that I'll never say, I'll never discourage people from getting married. Because at the end of the day, people are still making kids out of wedlock. And I believe that the best thing in terms of raising children, especially if there's kids, is within a family. So people should still get married. But at the same time, we need to watch a video like this guy and actually learn in terms of what actually happens in marriage and when people divorce, so that we can know in terms of how to navigate such things.
Milena also had her stuff. Her stuff is her stuff, which makes sense to me. Next, waste and reconstitution. Nicholas Michael Palom requests the court to find that Milena Midtoy-Palom has committed waste on the community and to reconstitute what ought be the actual existing value of the estate as a part of the court's just and right division of the community estate as set out in Exhibit A attached here too. So just the waste claim, essentially she had one against me, so I had one against her. I'm not trying to get into the gritty details of that. Next, attorney's fees. Order Milena Midtoy-Palm pay a portion of Nicholas Michael Palm's attorney fees, expenses, and costs, rendering a judgment against Milena Midtoy-Palm in favor of Kirker Davis LLP attorneys for Nicholas Michael Palm, and order Milena Midtoy-Palm to pay such a judgment directly to Stephen W. Payne and Kirker Davis LLP, who may enforce the judgment in attorney's own name with post-judgment interest as allowed by law. Attorney's fees. And then my last thing that I asked for, request for Milena Midtoy-Palm. Nicholas Michael Palm requests that all relief requested by Milena Midtoy-Palm be denied. So essentially what I'm asking for in this is a clean 50-50 split down the middle, just like I want.
My guy, you are a nice guy, man. You are a very nice guy. You are a nice guy. Like, I think when someone is divorcing you and you can see that this person is demanding a bunch of stuff, the last thing you want to do is also to be nice. I would also be harsh, man. I would also go to my lawyer and be like, hey, lawyer, you see what's happening? This person wants to cash me out of everything. What can we do? And what can I try to cash out of her? And what can I prevent her from getting? Because clearly I'm busy here being a nice person, saying 50-50, but she wants everything from what I got. She wants to leave me with nothing. Like, clearly there's someone who doesn't care about me, so why should I care about her?
Wanted back in April and March of 2025. What we have here is the court's ruling. This is what everyone's been waiting for, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. Dear counsel, from January 12th, 2026 to January 13th, 2026, the court presided over this case and took it under advisement. The ruling of the court is as follows. Divorce is granted on the grounds of insupportability. It's good. That's what I wanted. That's what Milena wanted. It's a no-fault divorce. Next, division of community property. 50% to Mr. Palm and 50% to Miss Palm, with the exception of King's Gaming Lab, Starforge, ordered to be split 55% to Miss Palm and 45% to Mr. Palm. The court finds that the disproportionate share of those funds are warranted due, number one, the disparity of the earning power, number two, nature of the property involved, and three, waste. So let me explain before everyone gets all excited what that means. I have a very small ownership in Starforge. She gets 5% more than I do, and if you do the math, it ends up being about 15K. If you remember during Milena's disposition of issues, she had asked for a 60-40 split because of things like economic and financial abuse of the petitioner. She did not get that. The community estate was essentially just 50-50 split down the middle, with the exception of Starforge, which is about a $15,000 extra towards Milena. And it makes sense to me. I will probably earn more than her going forward, and that seems pretty fair to me.
But whose fault is that? That you're gonna earn more than her? Whose fault is that? Because you earn more, you are with her. She's the one who decided to walk away, and now the court is deciding that, you know what, let's reward this lady. Like, I feel like these courts are also the problem. They're actually the ones who are breaking family because they're busy rewarding people from breaking a family, because that's what they're doing. Because I have chosen to work hard in my life so that I can earn more money. She had a choice to actually do the same and actually get a bit of earnings. So why should I get punished just because I chose to make my life even better? Like, this is why I'm saying again, guys, just use the Hakimi method, man. Just put all your assets into your parents' name or whatever, because this is the things that people are going through, where the courts constantly rewards the lady on the other side. Like, to me, that doesn't sit well, and it's kind of upsetting to see, really, you know.
Next, and this is very, very, very important because it has to do with my shares. Nick and Nmplol are designated as constructive trustee for Miss Palm's interest. So what that means, I don't have to send her my shares. I don't have to send her cash for the shares. I will hold her shares in my name until they're sold, if and when they're sold. So that was a big, big, big deal for me. Doesn't put me in generational debt, and you know, if they sell, they sell. Up next, attorney's fees, denied. Each party pays their own attorney's fees. Motion.
That's a win. That's a win. It's something, man. At least you have something a bit going your way, because attorney fees are very expensive, man.
To seal the court records, denied. Injunctions, denied. Post-divorce maintenance denied. That means me not being able to talk about the case was denied, and the $5,000 a month for 5 years that Milena wanted was also denied. She did not get that. Each party is to keep credit card in its debt in their own name. Each party to keep household furnishings in their possession. So all this stuff in this house is mine, all the stuff in hers is hers. Each party to keep their jewelry and personal items. So for example, that necklace that I wore, I get to keep. Pokemon card collection to be divided equally. Mr. and Mrs. Pollum to each keep their own online skins. Magic the Gathering card collection
So if I have skins on Call of Duty, they were gonna sell it. Hey, yeah, the divorce is tough, man. Like, they put anything into consideration, man.
divided equally. The Super 73 bike is awarded to Miss Pollum. Each party to keep ownership of their own social media accounts. 2023 Cadillac Escalade is awarded to Miss Pollum.
Fuck, man. Like, why is she getting the cars and the bike? Like, why? Man.
2021 Nissan GTR is awarded to me.
That's a win. Give me the GTR all day. She can keep the Cadillac, but at least my bike, man. But the GTR, hey, you can't take that one, man. You can't. Now I'm gonna be busy seeing your boyfriend driving my car.
So that was the court's ruling. To summarize, it was essentially the same exact offer that I had offered her back in March and April of 2025, with the exception of the extra.
So I'm curious in terms of the finances, how much did you lose in this divorce? I hope you can mention it before the end of the video.
$15K. This court case lasted well over a year. It cost over $400,000.
Wow. That's a lot of money, man, to lose. That's a lot of money. Like, that's a lot of money. A lot of people have to work a long time, a lot of years to make that amount of money. And you just lost it just like that.
In lawyer fees, expert fees, and in my opinion, most of it was unnecessary. But I had to go. I had no choice. If I was to continue to stream through everything, people would have been harassing me about it the entire.
Okay, I think that's enough in terms of this video. I think the positives is that he gets to keep most of his assets, and he still gets to keep most of his media network, such as his YouTube. So I think he can make up the money. He can make up the money. And I know people online, they do support the people, especially when they can see in terms of how you're going through a lot. Like, judging from this video alone, let me just show you in terms of the views. This video was posted 5 days ago, and it's already reaching close to 1 million. So already from this video alone, this guy is gonna make so much money. So I hope that he can recover the money that he lost. And yeah, man, it happens, man. It happens. Divorce is just brutal, man. It's just brutal. And you can see in terms of what the lady wanted, she wanted so much more. And yeah, man, my guy, I hope you learn a lesson. Next time if you get married, have a prenup, but also use the Hakimi method. Don't ever expose yourself like this, because this was so unnecessary, man. Yeah, guys, that's been very interesting in terms of this guy showing us, in terms of sharing his experience in terms of the divorce settlement, and you heard everything that he went through. So I've also shared all my thoughts throughout this video. I don't think there's anything more that I can add right now. What I can say is that don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.